Hi guys, let's talk a little bit more about worries today. So last week I published a video about 10 sneaky symptoms of childhood anxiety and I had a huge response, lots of questions and comments and emails, and I promised you guys I'd follow up with a video about some different at-home strategies you could use to help ease anxiety symptoms. So today's video is going to be focusing on anxiety that is more on the mild or moderate end of the spectrum. If your child is experiencing more moderate to severe anxiety, definitely go and hook them up with a mental health professional. You will not regret it. They will be able to give you the support that you need because the interventions are going to be more significant, and they will hopefully be able to talk to you about the benefits of medication after you try other things, cognitive behavioral therapy and other things that are research-based best practices. So let's talk about some strategies for anxiety that is more on the mild side. Perhaps you're seeing it situationally. You're seeing it maybe a child who's having a hard time separating before daycare, or maybe bedtime anxiety, whatever it might be. There are things that you can do at home to help a lot. And these things are all research-backed. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Angela Proust. If you don't know who I am a child therapist. I am the writer at the website Parents with Confidence, and I am the creator of the Confident and Connected method, which helps parents raising spirited, strong-willed kids gain more confidence and connection in their parenting. So all of these things are research-backed, and they're kind of going to be broken down into two different categories. We're going to talk first about more body-based interventions, or kind of physiological-based interventions for anxiety, and the second part will be more brain-based, right? Because anxiety is definitely a condition that affects the body and the mind. So some of these body ones are going to be ones you've heard them before. You're going to say, Angela, this is no breaking news, but we need reminders about them. That is the fact of the matter, is that often we don't do these things. So we need to be reminded of them. So first body-based strategy is exercise. Moving your body, making sure that you're being intentional about giving your child time during the day to move. If they have a busy schedule, I know that is true for my kids as they get older, and I have one who does deal with anxiety on and off, and I have to really encourage her and remember that there will be seasons where she's not in a sport, where she's not doing a physical activity, when now that she's in middle school, she's not going outside for recess, and I need to let her know that at home, after she watches TV for 30 minutes after school, we are going to do 30 minutes of green time to balance out the screen time. It's what we say around the Proust house. So we definitely need to be intentional about that for our kiddos with anxiety for all sorts of reasons. I'm not going to get too technical into things today. I just want to give you guys some ideas. But we all know it reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. It increases endorphins and other feel-good chemicals in the body, grounds us into our body, and takes us out of our anxiety, worry part of our brain. So number 2 is nature, getting your child outside into a green space. Again, all sorts of feel-good relaxation chemicals happen. There's tons of research on the power of nature and being outdoors to increase our mood, decrease stress, depression, all sorts of things, even if it's a small amount of time. Research has even found that watching nature for 5 minutes helps boost all sorts of things in our body, which is crazy. So get outside, even if it's just for a little bit, and you might need to do it too. You might have to lead the way and model if you're not the best with that. The third thing is sleep, right? I know, Angela, I've heard this a million times, but we've got to get intentional about making it happen. So that means setting ourselves up for success with our routines. Are we making sure that our night times, our evenings and plans and activities and such are conducive to getting our child to bed at a reasonable time? Are we following our doctor's recommendations for the amount of sleep they need based on their age? Are we taking cues from our own individual child and making sure that they don't seem tired, that they seem to be getting that need met for rest and sleep? This balances circadian rhythms, it balances all sorts of hormones and things that really relate directly to mood and can really have a big effect on worries and anxiety. Now, the final body-based strategy that we're going to talk about today is the biggest and most effective strategy. If you were to do one thing right now, if you have a kiddo who you believe might be experiencing some anxiety symptoms, this is the thing that in the moment is going to be the most effective to help these anxiety symptoms subside. And it's also going to be the thing that on the long term, when done consistently, as a practice is really going to help bring down their baseline stress level and really going to help to lessen their anxiety. And that is mindfulness. So we can call it mindfulness practices, we can call it mindfulness exercises, meditations would fall under that umbrella as well. What mindfulness is a way to bring us into the here and now without any judgment. So we're accepting the present moment as it is. We're not analyzing, we're not jumping in our brain to the future or to what happened yesterday. Our brains love to do that, but we are intentionally pulling ourselves out of those mental spaces into the here and now and grounding ourselves through all different types of mindfulness practices. I am trained in the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, and the trainers who I worked with said that in 10 or 20 years, when culture catches up with neuroscience, they're going to be telling us that we need to do, practice mindfulness twice a day for hygiene for our brain, in the same way that we brush our teeth twice a day for our oral hygiene and physical health. It's that important. It is such an important way that we can take care of our brains in general, anxiety or not now in our busy, fast-paced world. But for kids who have anxiety, they are really stuck in their part of their brain that's responsible for emotions and anxiety, which is their amygdala. It's also known commonly as the downstairs brain, which Dr. Dan Siegel coined it as years ago. And what's happening is that they are stuck in the center of the brain. Their brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It is trying to warn them of danger. But that alarm bell, that protective alarm in their brain is going off too often in situations where they're really not in danger. So what we need to do is we need to calm that alarm system down. That is in our limbic system, and we need to really work on calming down that limbic system and soothing our nervous system. And that is what all of those physical-based interventions are going to do. And also this is what mindfulness is amazing at, right? So basically what mindfulness does in a nutshell is helps to redirect our brain from being in this emotion, overwhelmed, stuck, stressed space, and reroutes our neurotransmitters to turn on our front brain, or our thinking brain, upstairs brain, right? All different interchangeable terms, in order to be able to think more rationally, more logically, right? Into our thinking brain out of our emotion brain. And that is literally what mindfulness does. It helps us intentionally practice that so that we can more easily do that in situations when we are overwhelmed and we are stressed. So if you want to get more information on practicing mindfulness with your child, I have a big, huge lesson on that in my Calm Kids Masterclass, as well as a full masterclass for parents on using mindfulness practices to become a more calm, less reactive parent. So I will link those below, but practicing mindfulness with your child is such a powerful, effective strategy for anxiety. You can do this with books, right? There's so many books out there that give kids a basic understanding of meditation and mindfulness. Sitting Still Like a Frog is a great one. There are tons of them. I happen to have this one on my desk right now. B is for Breathe, which is geared more towards preschool. Tons of activities, all different examples of mindfulness activities: dancing, counting to 10, mindful eating, being with a friend, watching a glitter jar. These are all different ways we can pull out of our emotion brain and come into the here and now brain. So books is a great way to do this. Apps is a great way to do this. Let's use technology to our advantage. There are so many ways that it causes problems for our kids, but so many things are amazing about it too. There are so many great apps for meditation and mindfulness. Insight Timer is one that is free. Headspace is another one. I believe that is usually paid. If you go to these apps, I know Insight Timer is the one we use. They are very prolific, and there are tons of different meditations that are kid focused on all different themes. They have them on worries. They'll have them on maybe friendship, on nighttime, happiness, all sorts of different things. So doing those little things it really allows you to easily access mindfulness at a very developmentally appropriate level. You can type in even the age, I believe, to search on Insight Timer. All sorts of really great apps and technology that you can use to come along with them and practice those things. And I have all sorts of helpful resources for meditations and my favorite tools for that, so I will link that below as well. And then now let's jump into the second part of what we're going to be going over. We went over the body-based strategies. Now we're going to quickly touch on the brain-based strategies. So the first thing that's going to help is to help give your child a basic understanding of anxiety. Sometimes the biggest, most overwhelming thing for anyone with anxiety, especially kids, is not knowing what's happening, right? It's really scary when we're experiencing physical sensations in our body, thoughts, frequent rapid thoughts that can be really uncomfortable, but we don't know why it's happening. So explaining in a developmentally appropriate way what's going on will go so far. The book that hands down I would recommend to do this, I can't find it right now and I'm so sad, is called Hey Warrior by Karen Young. It is the book that I've always gone to in my therapy practice. It just explains the brain science behind anxiety in such a beautiful way and really articulates what's going on. And the warrior that she's writing about is our amygdala, or this area of our brain that's there to protect us. It wants to protect us. It wants to be our warrior, but sometimes it just gets so tired and it tries to work so hard. And so we need to help say, hey, calm down, warrior. It's okay. I'm not in danger. And really what that has to do with is the second part here of our brain-based interventions, and that is intervening with the thoughts that underlie anxiety. So with anxiety, we are looking at the, thoughts, emotions, actions triangle, right? We have thoughts, they lead to emotions. These are chemical responses. We know this. This is the way the brain works. And then based on our emotions is how we act and how we respond. So really there we're intervening in that thought space of looking at, what thoughts are we experiencing at those times of stress and overwhelm? Most likely they're going to be ones that are not grounded in logic and reason and rationality, but they're going to be grounded in fear. They're going to be grounded in maybe assumptions, things that happened to us in the past, things that we're worried might happen in the future, but not usually fact-based, evidence-based things. So it's a process of working on this with kids for sure. And that is why if anxiety is more moderate to severe, this is something that a therapist will be able to do with you. It will need more consistent work and practice. And this is what cognitive behavioral therapy is. So this was a lot of information. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. It made me realize I need to do a masterclass on anxiety because it's only the most common thing in the whole entire world. So many of us will have anxiety and so many kids do. And it really is, while it is uncomfortable, it's not fun. Nobody's like, hey, pass me some anxiety. It's a very, very treatable condition. It's a very healthy condition. Our brains are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And they just need a little bit of help and redirection. And really that can lead to learning a lot about ourselves, our child learning a lot about themselves, learning really how to hone in on their thoughts and how to cultivate more positive thoughts too. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions about anything below, and I'm happy to answer, and I will link those masterclasses and those resources underneath the video. Thanks guys. Have a great day. See you in the next video.